Hi, so today is day 20, which is a side kick series. There are lots of variations that you could include with this. I'm going to go through versions of the exercises that you tend to do more often if you attend class with me, which would be your side leg, forward and back, circles and lift and lower, and inner thigh lift. There's different positions that you could be in for the side kick series. So often in class we would be side lying and possibly chair position, extending the underneath arm and then maybe having a cushion or two in between your arm and your head to keep everything stacked. So absolutely fine if you need to do any of the following exercises in this position. And the next stage I will do, we're going to have the legs lengthened, but it's fine to do them in chair position as well, which you will know from class. And you would have the leg lengthened away. You could do forward and back, circles, and you can do your lift and lower, and then inner thigh lift, perhaps with a cushion or a ball to support your knee. So that's your backup option if this next position isn't suitable for you. So the sort of more traditional side leg position is you're propped up on one elbow. So I'm going to go through that with you. So I'll start off in chair position. I'm going to support my head in my hands, really keeping as much length and lift through the waist as I can. So it might be something you need to be here, but I don't really want you to be slumped and scrunched up on one side. So we're actively propping up here. So I'm holding the weight of my head, and the other hand is going to come up here as well. If you needed to, you could have this hand lightly in front of you, but try not to roll onto it. Again, you could be in chair position, but I'm going to show you with the legs lengthened away. So initially, I'm in parallel, legs are stacked, waist long and lifted. Breathing centering, I'm going to hover that top leg up, flex the foot as I kick, inhale point, exhale back. So I'm going to do maybe about 5 or 6 as I'm talking, and we're still trying to keep the pelvis and your torso as steady as you can with all of these really. So I think I've done around 6 there. So next one will be lift and lower. If you can, try and turn out both the top and the bottom leg. Otherwise you can do it in parallel, but we're going to try in turn out. So I'm going to lift up with a soft point and down with a flex. So I can inhale up, exhale with a flex. Keeping that length and lift through the waist. So I'm just doing around 5 or 6 of each of these to show you. Next one is I'm going to hover up, and this could be parallel or turned out as well, is circles. So start really teeny, find your stability, and then maybe as you go you could increase the size of that circle. I'm doing about 5 or 6 each way, keeping that length and lift through the waist. So stacking back up, and then that top leg is going to come forward as far as you can. I'm going to try and grab hold of my ankle with that top arm. Underneath leg, I've returned to parallel. Keeping that length through the waist, I'm going to lift up from that inner thigh. So exhale, center lift, inhale, lower. And I'm just doing again about 5 or 6 to show you, so you could do probably between 6 to 8 of each of these ultimately. And I'm going to come back to the chair and release back down. Before we flip onto the other side, it's going to come onto my tummy and do prone beats. So my legs are hip width, slightly turned out, kind of like your dart position. Always try and press with the upper body, rest your head on your hands or use a little cushion if you need to. So I'm slightly turned out, hovering the legs away from the mat, supporting with my centre. I'm going to breathe in for 5, out for 5, like with 100, and pulse the legs together. So in, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could work up to doing around 50 of those. And then let's go on to the other side. So I'm going to just head to the other end of the caddy so I can still see you. You can use your cushion if needed. It might feel trickier to get into this position on one side. It's certainly harder for me on this side because I have a lot of metal work in this wrist, but that's why I'm going to give it a go. So I'm going to start chair and just try and find a position where I can keep that length and lift through my waist, then lengthening the legs away. So I'm parallel to start with, top hand comes up, so it's harder for me to stabilise on this side. Leg to around hip height, foot flexed. I'm going to kick forward as I exhale, inhale, point, exhale, back. So as on the other side, I'm aiming just to go through about 5 or 6 of each of these with you, keeping that pelvis really steady. I'm also trying not to fall off the Cadillac. Okay, and then once I've done those, I'm going to try and turn out both. Need to keep that length here. I'm struggling a little more on this side, so really important to keep that length and lift through the waist. Ideally turn out if you can, and then soft point up as you inhale, exhale down with a flex. And I'm going to hover up, and your circles can either be parallel or turn out, so start really teeny. Maybe you can get a little bigger, still focus on that stability and keeping that lift. And then go the other way. And then connecting. And then the next one, I bring the leg up as far as is comfortable for me. Hold the ankle, and I'm lifting and lowering the underneath leg. So exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. I'm starting to struggle a little bit more with my hand on this side. So I'm going to untangle and just release. Stretch that out for a second. And I'll roll back onto my tummy towards the dart position. Legs almost like dart. I've got that slight turn out if you can. Hover them up. Breathing in for 5 and out for 5, and just pulsing. So. So that's between 30 to 50, and then after all that, I'm going to sit back into my rest position and just take a few breaths there. And then begin to uncurl and roll myself back up. So I hope that's helpful. Have fun with that. Now you can change your start position, use a cushion, either on your arm for your head, or you could have the big cushions if you needed, as you would do in class with your sideline rotation if it's not comfortable to lean or weight bear onto your shoulder. So thanks for joining me.